I'm sorry, do what? Oh, no. Come on.
There you go. Good job, doing.
Better farther away.
Hi, Alan.
All right.
This is Dr. Yu.
All
I
right,
don't
Dr. Clark.
see the hand raise mode.
It's hard for me to tell you where it is because as a host, I don't have that function myself.
What are you trying to do?
The hand raised, Dr. Collada?
Yeah, I'll watch the hand raise.
Nice. Dr. Yu is trying to find it on, and I don't have the function on my.
Okay.
At the
Dr.
bottom
Yu,
of
if
the
you go to the where it says participants, at the bottom of the center of the
Yes.
screen,
Okay. Yes.
click on that and you'll see a list of participants. If you scroll down on that, you'll see raise hand at the bottom of that.
And we are now live, Dr. Clark. So whenever you're ready.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. It's Friday, February. I wish it was Friday. It's Monday, February 22nd, 2021. I'd like to call this meeting of the Louisiana State Board of Medical Examiner to order. The meeting will be streamed on YouTube with a 15 to 20-second delay. Today's meeting is being recorded as approved by the board. Before we get started, I would like to ask for a moment of silence for the victims of COVID-19 and the healthcare workers and the families that have had to give so much during this crisis. Thank you very much. Start off the meeting. I'm going to ask Ms. Tandra Foley, the first 2021 employee of the quarter, to read the mission statement.
Miss Tandra's actually having trouble connecting, so we're trying to get that taken care of, Dr. Clark.
Okay, how far are we from getting that done?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Let's because it looks like she just needs to unmute herself, so I'm trying to get that straight.
Okay.
But I also wanted to add one thing. My daughter's actually started labor this morning on my grandchild, so at some point I might have to exit the meeting, but I'll leave it in the good hands of Dr. Collada and Tracy.
Okay, we understand. Thank you. Ms. Foley, ready to go?
She's
She was doing all kinds of stuff and there was no sound.
there. She goes. All right, Tandra, go ahead.
Good morning.
Go ahead.
Ms. Foley, are you there? Okay, well, I tell you what, we're gonna have Miss Wilton will read the mission statement.
Thank you, Ms. Foley.
The mission of the Louisiana State Board of Medical Examiners is to protect and improve the health, safety, and welfare of the
You
citizens.
just told her I think you're gonna be on there, not me. I don't want these people looking at.
Regulation, research, and discipline of physicians and allied health professionals in a manner that protects the rights and privileges of the licensees.
Thank you very much. We'll get to Ms. Foley next time. I'm sorry about the electronics, sometimes gets in the way, but we appreciate her volunteering to do this. Thank you very much. I would like any public comments to be emailed to publiccomment@lsbme.la.gov. I repeat, I would invite any public comments to be emailed to publiccomment@lsbme.la.gov, and it will be read into the record. I remind all of our staff and board members that your mics will be muted and to use the raise hand function to be recognized. I also ask that once you're recognized, please state your name before speaking. I also advise you that if you mute your mic yourself, we may be unable to unmute it. You may notice some changes to the executive session information. These changes are to protect the process right of the affected practitioners. Additionally, we must ask that any additions to the executive session agenda be made now or any time before the completion of the public session. We will no longer be able to make additions to the executive agenda after the close of the public session. Also, all public session agenda items need to occur before we begin the executive session. These changes are being made on the advice of the council and through the Attorney General's office. At this time, I would ask Dr. Collada and Mr. Phillips, are there any public comments?
There are none in my.
Not at this time. Yeah.
Okay, Dr. Collada, could you please call the roll?
Yes, sir. Dr. Johnson.
Here.
Dr. Weather.
Here.
Dr. Horton.
Here.
Dr. Yu.
Here.
Dr. Thomas.
Here.
Dr. Clark.
Here.
Ms. Sport.
Here.
Dr. Valentine.
Here.
Dr. O'Neill.
Here.
Dr. Taylor.
Here.
You have a quorum, all 10 members are present, Mr. President.
Thank you very much, Dr. Collada. The first item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes. We have two sessions for approval. First, public session minutes of January 25th, 2021, and the special call meeting minutes from February 16, 2021. Do I have a motion to approve?
Dr. Horton.
So moved by Sport. I have my hand raised.
Okay, Dr. Horton, Ms. Sport. Are there any additions?
Dr. Horton has her hand raised.
Dr. Horton, you're recognized.
Yes, you're probably way ahead of me on this, but the minutes labeled as 2020 instead of 2021, and the header says 2020.
Dr. Hart, I hate to interrupt you, Dr. Hart, but I'm having a very difficult time hearing you. You could maybe take your mask off just so we could, I know the distortion sometimes. It's okay.
What do you want me to do?
Can y'all understand?
Dr. Horton, we cannot understand a word you're saying. Could you take your mask off, please?
I would love to take my mask off.
It's so much better.
Just don't tell Dr. Johnson I did. Okay, the minutes are labeled 2020 instead of 2021. And the header says 2020 through page 12. And then beginning on page 414, the header says January 21st, 2021.
Mary Thomas has her hand raised.
Any other corrections, Dr.?
Yes, on page 5 of 414, the executive director report.
Page 5, you said, ma'am?
Yes, sir. In the executive director report, which is item 10, the fourth bullet down about the repairs and upgrades talks about the adjoining wall. But it's printed as adjoining wall.
Adjourning.
We'll correct that.
Dr.
That's
Thomas has her hand raised.
Yes,
Okay, I just want to make sure Dr. Harden is finished.
Okay.
I am,
Dr. Harden, is that complete, your correction?
for the minutes, yes.
Did she hear? Okay, thank you very much. Recognize Dr. Thomas.
Yes, so I think it's page 4 of the minutes, but page 6 of the agenda, bullet 4. These are just some minor wordsmithing things. Are gathering instead of just gathering.
What item was that?
It's bullet 4.
Okay.
It's page 6 of the agenda, but page 4 of the minutes.
Page 4 of the minutes. Okay, let me get there.
It's the bulleted items. It's bullet number 4.
Yeah, there you go.
It says the physician mortality study is ongoing and we are gathering. It's just a minor thing.
Dr. Taylor has his hand raised.
And then I'm sorry, I just have a few more and then I'll be done.
Okay.
So at the end of the, let's see, under physician assessment of cost, the second to last line, all of these have the word till. It should be until. And it's multiple ones that say that. I think it's all of the rulemaking efforts.
Thank you, ma'am.
Any other corrections?
Just one last, and again, it's just wordsmithing. On page 16,
Okay.
Of the initial minutes, Dr. Thomas.
it's page 16. I'm sorry, I don't have my computer. Okay, so it's yes, and let's see. Video conference is one word, not two. And that, where it says public comments, meeting order. It's 1, 2, 3, the fourth line. Item number 2, the fourth line. Video conference is one word. And further down on the 6th line, it says further. Dr. Clark emphasized there's no such thing as further, it's furthermore.
Not true.
So what do you want it to read, ma'am?
So it should say furthermore. Furthermore is the correct introductory term. Furthermore, not further.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Great, thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Thomas. Dr. Taylor, I believe, is next.
Correct.
Yes, continuing on page 16, executive session, report of counsel and advice with regard. Advice should have a C, not an S. Advise is a verb, advice is a noun. I thought Dr. Thomas was going to take my answer.
Everyone.
Okay,
Any other additions or corrections or subtractions? We have a motion and a second, and to accept the minutes as amended. All in favor, please call the roll.
approval of the minutes, Dr. Weather,
Yes.
Dr. Johnson,
Yes.
Excuse me.
Dr. Horton,
Yes.
Dr. Yu,
Yes.
Dr. Thomas,
Yes.
Dr. Clark,
Yes.
Ms. Sport,
Yes.
Dr. Valentine,
Yes.
Dr. O'Neill,
Yes.
Dr. Taylor.
Yes.
You have a unanimous vote to accept the minutes.
Minutes are approved. The next item on the agenda is before I go on, are there any public comments?
No, sir, not at this time. No, sir, not at this time.
The next item on the agenda are follow-up action items. Dr. Collado, you have the floor.
Okay, let me get to my agenda. The first one is a draft response. Getting to it.
18.
I apologize, we have a little technical difficulty, but I'll get right to page 18. All right. So this is a draft of the letter we drafted based upon your suggestions requiring information. And the lady requested information about her training, and this is the proper response as determined by our legal counsel. I would move that you accept this. I recommend that you accept this.
Any comments? Any hands raised?
No, sir. Oh, Dr. Taylor's hand's raised.
Dr. Taylor?
Yes, Mr. President, at the appropriate time, I would move to accept this letter.
Motion is taken. Do I have a second?
Sport second.
Ms. Sport is seconded. Any discussion on this matter? Any hands up?
No.
Any public comments?
No, sir, not at this time.
Give 2 seconds. Dr. Collado, could you please call the roll?
All right. All right, Dr. Weather,
Yes.
Dr. Johnson,
Yes.
Dr. Horton,
Yes.
Dr. Yu,
Yes.
Dr. Thomas,
Yes.
Dr. Clark,
Yes.
Ms. Sport,
Yes.
Dr. Valentine,
Yes.
Dr. O'Neill,
Yes.
Dr. Taylor.
Yes.
It passes unanimously, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. We'll get that out as soon as we can. The next item on the agenda is communication and information. Dr. Collado, again, you have the floor for these items.
Okay, we've had a request to evaluate a new device. It's called an MLS-8 laser. It is something that uses pulse laser technology at a frequency that passes through the skin and into the deep tissues. It is used for relief of pain. We need to do some more research on this, but I think the appropriate response would be we do our research and present this to you at the next meeting. This is now treated as FDA cleared. However, it is not FDA approved, and there is some question, does it need to be approved? We need to research all of that and make a recommendation, should it be put in general practice or still in research. And so I'd like to be able to do that research and bring it back to you next week.
Any board members have any comments or any expertise on the?
Kim Sport has her hand raised.
Ms. Sport?
I don't have expertise, obviously, but I did speak to someone who does. And he said he's had 4 lawsuits that he's had to help patients with this year due to injuries from lasers used at spas. And this is a physician, that, by the way, that gave me this. And he said the laser companies are in it for profits only and will do what they can to create a free-for-all for physicians. If you'd like to talk to him, I will get you in touch with him.
Thank you for your comment. Any other comments from the board? Any consumptive, man?
I can tell so.
So your suggestion, Dr. Collado, is that you come back to the board with more information?
Yes, we'll come back with a draft and a recommendation.
Dr. Taylor has his hand raised.
Taylor?
And whether.
Yes, in that time frame, can we avail ourselves of our dermatology specialists or experts that we use from time to time?
I'm sorry, I could not understand what you were asking.
Can we reach out to the dermatologist?
Yes, I've had some information from the dermatologist in communication with the president of the Derm Society.
Okay.
I'll continue to use that information as we develop a response.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Weather.
Oh, yes. I certainly think that's an affable way to proceed. There's very little information if you Google, 1, and then 2, it's what you do see is that this is a perfect instrument. There's categorically no complications. There's no problems with it. So we really need to get the information and research and to be able to parse this as to the utility of it.
Thank you, Dr. Weather. Any other comments? Are there any public comments?
Not at this time.
Thank you very much. Next item, Dr. Collado.
Again, 101.05.02 is a continuation of the same use of the same laser. And I would recommend that we do that in conjunction with 0105.
Okay.
We have
1.05.02.
Yeah. And what I'd like to do is also recognize that we are later on going to be talking about a request for rulemaking from the dermatologist, but at this time we'll let that go. And then the next one is 1.0503. And this is a pigment removal request, tattoo removal. And again, I think that at this point, we have some information. We've asked for some in the past, and I think the issue is we should go ahead and formalize our response and present it to you at the next meeting. And we'll get back to you with this. This is a kind of a system of removing tattoos that is different from the laser removal tattoos. And so I think we should review this and get you back and formally answer at the next meeting.
Dr. Collada?
That we made earlier.
I'm sorry to interrupt, Dr. Collada. I'm not able to hear you. I didn't know if anybody else could. I'm not sure which matter you're on.
Okay, we're on matter 01.05.03.
Okay, thank you.
And again, this is a pigment removal process done by tattoo artists, and we need to finalize and make a recommendation to you. We've got this additional information since the last meeting, and we will draft a response and get it to you at the next meeting.
Are there any comments from the board members in this matter? Any public comment?
No public comments.
Okay. All right, Dr. Collada, so you'll have something for us?
On all of these matters at the next meeting.
Who do you plan to reach out to?
We will go to the FDA guidelines. I think it's section 1040.10.0 of Title 21, Part 1, that talks about the what has to have a FDA approval. Talks about class 4 lasers requiring it. We'll have to look into the difference between what is marketed and what is required. The other issue is that with regard to and we'll talk to the dermatology people who are interested in this laser as well. Okay, so it's got orthopedic use right now and the dermatology use.
So we're going to look and maybe reach out.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. All right. Next is the president's report. Yeah. So first of all, regrettably and truly regrettably, the agency accepted the resignation of Dr. Denner. We are very grateful for her years of service and wish her well in her future endeavors. And personally, I worked very closely with her doing the malpractice reports, and it was a pleasure to work with Dr. Denner. Dr. Hart and Ms. Allen and I met to discuss preliminary data in the physician's mortality review. While interesting, more data needs to be accumulated and kind of hashed out from national sources before we can bring to the board. So a little work, even though she's done tremendous work, it's just taking time. Just as a reminder, the regular legislative session in Louisiana begins on April 12, 2021. I hope you will all actively participate and be involved in this process. Your presence as a board member will have to go unnoticed during any discussion that may be relative to the practice of medicine. So thank you very much. And Dr. Collada, you are the Executive Director.
Okay. Good morning. We are beginning an extensive education effort for our advisory committees. There will be courses that include all of the state mandated education for these committee members, and these courses are necessary because civil service does not give P numbers to these committee members, and they can't do a full online training. The committee members can do some non-civil service training online, such as the CGIS FBI for our background checks and the ethics training that are provided by the ethics board. But the regular stuff that we have to do cannot be done. So we'll be having those opportunities for the advisory committees to do Zoom conferences and get that done. And of course, you as board members will receive invitations to these Zoom conferences, and you can use these to fulfill your 2021 requirements for state mandated education. The advisory committees are transitioning to our cloud share to prevent data breaches in their meeting materials. The exterior renovation work is complete, and we're beginning the process of friendly discussions with our neighbors over the common wall issues. All of the storage pods are gone, all of the high reach lifts are gone, and the U.S. Marshals are now able to park along Capitol Street. So from the outside, everything looks like normal. Building is looking very sharp, very clean, very neat. And I think that we're already seeing a decrease in the need for HVAC use as the building is tightened up. And of course, we've eliminated all of that mold problem and moisture problem. We're in the final stages of hiring a CPA for the accounting department. We found an exceptionally well-qualified candidate with many years of state experience and knowledge of state procurement and travel laws. We're completing the process of meeting the salary demands with civil service, and I hope to be able to introduce this new employee to you at the next meeting. As of now, all of the Act 200, 2018 military, excuse me, that's a correction, needs to be changed. That's 2020. I apologize. All of that is in military personnel is complete and it's functioning fully, and we've had no complaints as of this time. The military and independents are getting these provisional permits while we continue to do the regular processing. We continue to work with the IMLCC as we set up a dual track for compact licensing. Senator Peacock and Ms. Peck of the Senate participated in the last meeting and were very helpful. I anticipate we will be ready to implement the compact licensing laws for July as mandated by the law. We're beginning the revisions of the rules for the compact licensees in compliance with the law. Never forget that the law always supersedes our rules. We'll continue to be regular with the IMLCC and other state licensing boards to iron out details and set up this unique licensing system. I have given to you the 9 points that are required for us to receive the information from the state of primary origin, and this is what they are. And when we get those, we'll be granting the license. Those are for your personal review. We continue to work on the solution for the antitrust and personal corporation liability protections for the board members. We have meetings scheduled with elected leaders to seek their recommendations, and hopefully we can present something to you at the next meeting. The CME reporting changeovers continues to garner lots of praise from several CME provider groups. We're receiving fewer and fewer complaints. I really need to share with you one recent complaint that shows how frustrated people can be, and they accused members of the board or myself of owning stock at C Broker. And after I calmed the licensee down, we're getting set up at the no-cost program, and I assisted with initial submissions of some of his credits, and he felt much better about things, and actually even apologized for saying we were stockholders. But people get frustrated, and we help them out as much as we can, but certainly the number of complaints we're getting is decreasing all the time. We continue to issue temporary licenses under the executive order and emergency declarations. Recent comments from the CMS and HHS suggest that the federal emergency declaration may go into 2020. Please see these attached, 2022. And please look at these. These are the numbers. We have over 2,200 temporary permits. As of a week ago, that number's increased just in the last week, as Dr. Clark will tell you. Lately, we've been doing 10 and 12 a day.
I signed off on every one of them.
Yes, he has. Dr. Clark and I have signed off on every one of them. You're correct.
Kim Sport has her hand raised.
I'm sorry.
Kim Sport has her hand raised. I'm sorry.
Let's finish your report and we'll entertain questions.
All right. So these are the weekly reports of CE Broker, and you can see that we're making some progress, and things are moving along. I'm not sure that if anybody has any questions about any of these, we'll address them after I finish the report. We're coming to the end shortly. For all of our licensing classes that require CE, we get an individual report, and we're making sure that things are moving along to help anybody who has a problem. I will tell you that thanks to one of our employees, Ms. Phyllis Johnson, we now have a very good desk manual for our regular licensing people to handle those things. And so if you have any questions about this, I'm happy to answer those with support right now.
Ms. Sport,
Oh, thank you. Dr. Collada, I noticed that the compact licensure agreement says that you must not have a history of disciplinary actions. And I was just wondering if a letter of concern would be considered a disciplinary action.
The disciplinary actions are determined by the state of primary origin. And so it would be how they manage that issue, not us. So whatever they tell us, if there's a disciplinary action, then we would not have to give them a license. So the state of primary origin would make that determination. They would tell us that there's no disciplinary action, and then we'll grant the license.
Ms. Sport, in the state of Louisiana, a letter of concern is considered non-disciplinary.
Mary Payton has her hand raised.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Cresswell.
Dr. Cresswell said it. That's exactly what I was going to say.
Ms. Payton.
But again, other states may have different processes than we have, and so I think that's what Dr. Collada was trying to address, how they discipline their license.
Sport.
Okay.
Ms. Sport, do you have any further comments?
No, I don't. Thank you.
Any other questions from the board in regard to Dr. Collada's report? Are there any comments from the public at this time? Mr. Phillips.
I'm sorry. Yeah, not at this time. My unmute wasn't working for some reason.
No, that's okay. Next on the agenda is the financial report.
So these are our account balances, and they show you where we are financially at all of 2020. And then we have our income statements, 2020, 2018, 2019, 2017, and our expense overview. Yes, he's on. Mr. Danny is with us today.
Yeah, Danny, Danny.
If Danny wants to present it, he's welcome to.
I'm online. Can you hear me?
Yeah, Danny, you have the floor.
All right, good. Well, as you can see, there's a big, I guess, at the bottom line here, you'll see a big change in the net income number. 2020 was an unusual year in that we had a lot of expenses that were put out for the waterproofing of the building. But you look at 2019 and you'll see a large deficit in that particular year. And the reason for that is because the auditors during the 2019 audit, they made a large adjustment to the employee retirement related benefits. So you can see that number is kind of a little bit higher than it normally would be. I guess they felt like there was a need to up the amount that was being put away or expense for that purpose to catch up. There were some changes in the accounting a while back that caused the state board to be able to put away more money for the retirements. That's why it's higher. They may make an adjustment to the 2020 numbers when they do the audit. It could be up or down, but that's the difference between the numbers between the 2 years. Okay. Next one is the clinical lab profit and loss report, and you can see that's pretty consistent from year to year, and the trending is upward trending. Revenues are up, expenses are down, so our net income is going down as well. That's it for the financial report.
Any questions for Dr. Collada or Mr. Alday in regard to the financial statements? Any hands up, Alan?
No hands are up.
Any comments? Give it a couple of minutes for everybody.
Alan?
No, sir. No comments.
Is there a motion to approve the financial report? Is there a motion to approve the financial report?
Whether
Okay, I don't know who moved.
Ms. Sport.
Ms. Sport moved second.
Whether
Dr. Weather, any other comments, questions? Seeing none, please call the roll, Dr. Collada.
Dr. Weather.
yes.
Dr. Johnson.
Yes.
Dr. Orr.
Yes.
Dr. Yu.
Yes.
Dr. Thomas.
Yes.
Dr. Clark.
Yes.
Ms. Sport.
Yes.
Dr. Valentine.
Yes.
Dr. O'Neill.
Yes.
Dr. Taylor.
Yes.
Okay. So here are the meetings.
So the financial report passes.
Yes.
Next is future meeting dates. Please take a look at the future meeting dates. Excuse me.
Want to comment on returning to the city for meetings?
Okay, I guess I could make a comment. It's not on the agenda, but I guess I'll use some personal privilege. I took on my behalf to come down to New Orleans just to see how things are. And like Van said, the building is looking wonderful. What they've done to the building. The hotel is open. There is a small continental breakfast in the morning, and I think you can get lunch and dinner there too, but it'll probably be somewhat limited. I think we're still in phase 2. So things are in New Orleans, so things are still pretty restricted. I'll be discussing with Dr. Collada how we can have meetings. We'll have to do some social distancing up in the boardroom, which I think may be feasible. But what I've been told is we can't do a hybrid. We either have to do all Zoom or we have to have a meeting with the public. So I'll be discussing, that's one reason when I came down, I was going to discuss with Dr. Collada to look around to see how we could accommodate reopening the board meetings in New Orleans. We may have to wait until they're back in phase 3. Probably folks who live in some of the board members who live in New Orleans, probably help me out about when would be a good time to come back. And I would entertain comments or even some personal calls. Just, because we want to make sure that we roll this out and doing it appropriately. But this is a first step coming back to New Orleans today, just to kind of scope out things a little bit. So if there's any comment from any of the board members, I'd entertain them. Okay.
And the FSMB meeting noted down below in that report is still going to be scheduled now as a virtual meeting. It will not be an in-person meeting.
The next meeting will be March 29th and 30th. If there are any issues with any of those dates, please let me know or let us know now. If you have some conflicts.
Patrick O'Neill, Dr. O'Neill has his hand raised.
Dr. O'Neill.
Yeah, just talking about board meetings, I'm just wondering, Van, the employees have, because they're thought of as essential, have they been placed in the vaccination protocol yet?
We are trying to get them vaccinations. LCMC told Dr. Cresswell last week that they may be able to go there. We're working out a vaccination day at East Jefferson, which is now also part of LCMC, where all of our employees could go that wanted to go and get vaccinated at once.
That's good. I think that's important if we're going to start having face-to-face. Anyway.
We're still having a lot of working from home under the guidelines, but we're getting ready to enter into the licensing crunch. And Ms. Loma feels that it's probably beneficial to have more of us in the licensing department in the office during the crunch. But we are letting people work from home presently, and we'll be changing some of that to handle the large number of licenses that we have to process during the graduation period and initial days of residency and fellowship.
Point of order for Ms. Payton. Do we need to approve the meeting dates?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear the question. We need to approve.
Do we need to approve those dates, or they've already been approved? The meeting dates.
They've been approved, they have been approved in the past. So I don't think it's a. I don't think we.
So they've already been approved. We have to go back and do it again. No. All right. Just want to confirm. Okay. Next on the agenda is going to be the regulatory report, and who's going to handle that for us today?
Ms. Mary will usually handle that for us.
Yes, just an update on the OLRC has planned a meeting for March 25th. And so we're hoping to get our rules on that agenda. It'll be the second time they'll have been heard. And so thereafter, it would go before the legislature the second time. and be published in the Louisiana Register the second time. And hopefully we'll be in the backstretch for those rules.
Okay. Any comments or questions, Ms. Page? Any hands up, Ben?
No.
Are there any public comments
No, sir, not at this time.
for the financial report or the regulatory report or the meeting dates? Any public comments? None?
No, sir.
Okay. All right, first we have to approve. We'll always have a motion to approve the regulatory report.
So move,
So moved.
Valentine.
Taylor.
Valentine, second.
Taylor.
Second. Who's the second?
Taylor.
Dr. Taylor. Any other questions? Dan, please call the roll. Dr. Galata.
Dr. Weather,
Yes.
Dr. Johnson,
Yes.
Dr. Horton,
Yes.
Dr. Yu,
Yes.
Dr. Thomas,
Yes.
Dr. Clark,
Yes.
Ms. Sport,
Yes.
Dr. Valentine,
Yes.
Dr. O'Neill,
Yes.
and Dr. Taylor.
Yes.
It's unanimous, Mr. President.
All right, report is approved. At this time, before we go into executive session, I will ask if there are any public comments, and I know, Ellen, it may take a little time for this to happen, if I'm correct.
That is correct, sir. There's no public comments at the time, and give me about 15 seconds.
And I could make a motion. Do I have a motion to go into executive session?
So moved.
So move, Valentine.
Let's see, I think that was Dr. Martin and Dr. Valentine. As seeing no dissension, we